Hello everyone, this is Gary Maloney for Sacktown Slam, and it has been an amazing last 48 hours between NXT Philadelphia and, of course, the Royal Rumble. I wanted to go over NXT Philadelphia first. As you can see, I got my boys in pin form, as well as the Too Sweet symbol right here. You will understand about that, in a minute, but I wanted to go over respectfully first the NXT Philadelphia results, because NXT Philadelphia was great, and whether the people I wanted to win won or not, it was still an incredible pay-per-view. I think that this is why NXT is what wrestling needs. This is why NXT is so great, because they can fully have you invested in matches when, even if a person loses that you like, you're still happy with what you get. Like, I don't know why NXT is so good at this, but they know how to tell a story in the ring. And this is something that Raw and SmackDown need to learn from, is that telling a story in the ring invests people in what is going on outside of it. And that's what made NXT Philadelphia so great. I think that none of the matches here were last minute. None of the matches here were just thrown together. They all had time to simmer and boil. So, without further ado, I'll get to it. Unfortunately, that night, there was no Nigel McGuinness. I think it would have been great, seeing as Corey Graves was there, if he had joined in. Or hell, Paul Heyman. It was fucking Philadelphia. I mean, come on. But, nonetheless, it was what it was. We got an opening package from Paul Heyman that described the extreme, things that have happened in Philadelphia, and how that night was the beginning of the road to greatness, and that it all started there, It was a great opening. I've watched it a few times over just because Paul Heyman, he knows how to sell. And he sold this pay-per-view right from the get-go. The first match of that night was the NXT Tag Titles, which I think was a great way to start the show with a bang. And it was Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish versus the Authors of Pain. Now, the way this match worked out, it did start slow. And for those that are aware, Authors of Pain are quite a bit larger than Undisputed Era. I don't think height-wise they are, but definitely size-wise they are. And there was a bit of smack-talking in the ring from Authors of Pain, which is also another good sign that they're probably moving up. They did not win this match, the AOP, so at this point, it's a complete mystery where they go from here with the tag titles. But let's get to the nitty gritty here. So, at the end of the match, O'Reilly caught Razor with a knee strike to his shoulder. Fish and O'Reilly hit double knees on Razor in the corner because he's that big and needed two people to get him down. That's one of the better things about Undisputed is they don't go trying to do stupid shit. At least not in that area. And anyway, Fish with a belly-to-belly suplex for 2. Razor caught Fish with a big boot and a clothesline to O'Reilly. Akam back in is selling the knee, which earlier in the match had been attacked quite a bit by O'Reilly and Fish, and they stuck to attacking the ground game from AOP, which is smart. If you're a smaller tag team, it's about time that, ring awareness for some of these tag teams kind of came into play here. Because there's a lot of bigums right now in WWE. And if any of these small guys that people are calling white vanilla midgets are going to make it, you need to prove you can beat the bigums. So, he was selling his knee. Fish with a knee strike to Razor, and he locked in a sleeper while O'Reilly had a knee bar on Akam. Razor tossed Fish into his partner, to break the hold. O'Reilly had a series of kicks to Akam, but Akam fired back with a suplex and then hit a heck of a clothesline. Yeah, this literally flipped O'Reilly over in the ring. That was like, wow. Somebody has issues. Akam powerbombed O'Reilly onto the turnbuckle, which looked like it hurt, and followed up with kicks in the corner. Razor with a big boot to Fish. And this is when I thought AOP was going to win. But Razor hit Fish with a power bomb while O'Reilly pushed Akam into Razor, and then he rolled him up for a quick count pin. Now, most people would say, like my partner Ivan would say, I don't like quick roll-up pins. But this is Undisputed. They're not gonna, fight a power game against, the Authors of Pain. They're not gonna win that way. It's just not logistical to see them win. But, a quick pin, which, by the way, O'Reilly really kind of held the legs down. It wasn't him holding the pants or anything. It was a roll-up pin, and it was a legit pin. But, it's a way for a smaller guy to be the bigger guy, logistically. So, I didn't have any problem with that match, and with Undisputed getting the win there. That, in my personal opinion, was a great way to end that match. So, your winners, and still NXT Tag Champions, are Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. Then you kind of had the match that was really put together last minute, which is Cassius Ohno and the Velveteen Dream. Velveteen Dream, in the pre-show, was claiming he could beat Cassius Ohno in 30 seconds or less. I swear, when I heard this, I'm like, what'd you do? Steal, freaking William Regal's brass knuckles or something? Is that what we're going to see tonight? But, alas, no, that was not what we saw tonight. And the crowd literally was chanting down from 30 as soon as the bell rang, which I found hilarious. No, Ohno did not beat him, Velveteen Dream did not beat him in 30 seconds. So, I'm going to go on to the end of the match. So, Ohno was fired up. with a series of strikes and finished it off with a backsplash. Oh no, hit a roundhouse kick for a near fall. Dream with a backslide, got a 2 count, and then had a head kick followed up but a DDT for 2. Dream went to the top rope, but Ono connected with a big boot, which I don't know how the fuck he stayed on the top rope after that, and followed by a forearm shot. Dream reversed and landed a Death Valley driver, which looked incredibly fucking impressive for a guy that's only been on the NXT roster for less than a year, and got a 2 count. Ono hit a rolling elbow strike with a near fall. Dream with another Death Valley driver, and then went to the top rope where he hit his Macho Man type elbow for the win. Here is what I'm worried about. I feel like Cassius Ono has become the Dolph Ziggler of NXT. He's a guy that everyone loves, but never wins. I'm going to be honest with you. If he's going to be Jobber City for NXT, what does that make Cassius Ono? I mean, Cassius Ono has not seen sight nor sound of that NXT title since Bobby Roode had the title. And I think that was at the very beginning of the year, when Shinsuke was still with that brand. Velveteen Dream looked incredibly impressive here. I think the stock for Velveteen Dream just, again, went up a bit more after this match. I think Velveteen Dream is definitely one of those guys that needs to be looked out for. I think that Velveteen Dream probably has another year on the NXT roster before he moves up, which will give him even longer. But during the pre-show, him and Alister Black won, for some reason, won the feud of the year for NXT, which that feud didn't have long to simmer, but obviously this does say a lot about fan reaction to Velveteen Dream. Honestly, I was a doubter of Velveteen's for when he first showed up. I'm like, what is this wannabe gold dust garbage doing in NXT? But he's a lot more than that, and he has incredible ring skill. So I think the ceiling for this guy is pretty high. I don't think he's going to ever hold the WWE or Universal Championship unless they start getting rid of the Bigums on Raw. But he's IC Championship caliber, no doubt on that one. Ember Moon versus Shayna Baszler. This was one of those matches that a lot of people looked forward to. I was looking forward to it, but I sort of doubted Baszler's ability in the ring. But in all fairness, this was a match that was exactly what it needed to be. It needed to be somewhat short, but it needed to also show Baszler and Ember as credible threats in that women's division. And it's exactly what it did. So, at the beginning of the match, they locked up and they tried to outdo each other. Baszler took her down and got full ground to show her power. Baszler went from a rear naked choke, but it was blocked and Ember Moon connected with a series of kicks. Moon hit an outside dive onto Baszler. Back in the ring, Baszler connected with a series of knee strikes for a 2. Baszler stepped on the arm of Ember Moon, much in the way she did Dakota Kai, FYI. and then tried to work it over by wrenching the back onto it. Baszler continued to beat down the arm for a few minutes. Moon fired up and mounted a comeback with a series of kicks and then a springboard crossbody for another 2 count. Moon with a back elbow and then hit an eclipse finisher, but Moon sold her shoulder and couldn't get a pin. This is when I honestly thought Baszler was going to win it, because she couldn't get the pin on Shayna. Moon couldn't get the pin on Baszler after Moon hit the eclipse. WWE doctors checked out Moon at ringside. I'm not sure whether she was selling it or if something was really wrong. I mean, I guess she sold it, is what it seems like. Thought that they were going to have to stop the match. Moon pushed through it, and
Baszler caught her with an arm bar out of nowhere. Moon somehow got to the bottom rope by using her legs. However, Baszler locked it in again, but Moon countered it and stacked pinned her for the win. So Moon won, yet again with another roll-up. That's twice in one pay-per-view. Little bit much for my liking, but understandable given the situation that was presented here. The match was what it needed to be. And it sold both women as credible threats, and it sold both women as powerful and just incredible. And, Baszler, I think, needs a little bit more time, to simmer and to cook. She needs a little bit more time on the wrestling stuff. But I would say overall it looked very good, especially after the kick-ass sit-down interview we got the Wednesday before. So the next match, which is what I would say was match of the night, in my opinion, was Adam Cole versus Alister Black, and it was an Extreme Rules match. This match had people screaming ECW. That's how fucking good it was. You cannot, under any circumstances, undersell this match by any means. This was incredible. And there's a long discussion of it here, so I will get to the end. Though, one of the times, and I'm going to skip this, Alister Black was going to flip and do that sit thing. Adam Cole just hit the shit out of him with a kendo stick. Though, my goodness. So I'll start there. Black outsmarted him with kicks and strikes after he got hit with the kendo stick. Black went for a springboard move, but Cole hit him with the kendo stick, which brought him to the ground. Cole took a table from under the ring. The crowd was screaming, "We want tables," and it is Philadelphia after all. And Cole went for a move off the top rope, but it was blocked. Black sent Cole flying into a trash can, which smashed the trash can, and followed it up with a knee strike for 2. Black got another table from under the ring and set it up alongside the one that Cole had set up earlier. Black put a ladder in the corner, but Cole caught him with a side kick into the head. Excuse me, my colleague is sleeping in the background, so the ever-loving chainsaw doesn't realize that this house only has so much room. But, Anyway, Cole hit with a series of strikes in the corner, and Black tossed him onto the ladder. Ouchies.
Cole was bleeding from his hand. So WWE doctors checked out Cole's hand, and then the match continued. I think they wanted to see if it was broken or not and what was going on. I think he just cut it open when he got thrown onto the ladder. Anyway, the match continued. Cole caught Black with a chair shot into the gut, and then Black dropped him with a kick with a double foot stomp. Cole tossed the chair to Black. Now, Black caught it. And this is what amazed me, because I had assumed that chair shots to the head were illegal in terms of WWE, but once Cole caught the chair, or once Black caught the chair, Cole caught Black with a chair shot to, Cole hit a super kick to the chair, which sent Black falling from the top rope to the outside through both tables which had been set up. My God, Alister Black is a beast. To take that kind of a shot in the first place with the chair is one thing. To go through two tables and do that is another. No wonder Black hit, male superstar of the year during the pre-show. This guy's got NXT champion written all over him. Okay, back in the ring, Cole pinned him for a near fall, but it didn't happen. Cole set up the chairs with the backs together in the center of the ring. Black suplexed Cole onto them, onto his back. His back hit the middle of the chairs. Cole used the chair to get up, but Black hit him with a running knee and covered him, but O'Reilly and Fish dragged him out. And this is where thing 1 and 2 came out. And they hit their tag team finisher on Black, and they cleared the announce table, and due to them all being out. But unfortunately, they cleared the announce. After they cleared the announce table, Eric Young and Wolf came down and attacked Redragon, as some people would like to put it. And Killian Dane hit an outside dive to take all of them out. Black hit a double foot stomp again on Cole through the announce table. Then back in the ring, Cole caught Black with a super kick. Cole went for a chair shot, but Black hit Black Mass out of nowhere for the win. This was, in absolute honesty, the best match of the night. I mean, there's no way that there could be any doubt on that. I think that this match... I think that everything that happened in this match, and I think that everything that happened, within this match was just epic. And I wasn't really rooting for essentially Alister Black, but I think he deserves it. I honestly do, and I think that, now that, I guess, now that things are different with the NXT title situation, it could get interesting for Alister Black, moving up the ladder. excuse me here as I'm waiting for this to load. I'm just going to say that this whole takeover was incredible. It truly was. And I think that anyone that doesn't think that was watching a different pay-per-view than I was watching. Because this was absolutely incredible. I think it was deserving. And I think it made NXT just look great. And I think that, you know, the next... And boy, this is definitely not loading up here, so... just to say, I think that match of the night is between that and the NXT title match, which, before I even say who won or who lost the NXT title that night, as I was saying when I first started this podcast, it's not about sometimes winners or losers. It's about the story that you tell in the ring. And Andrade Cien Almas and Johnny Gargano, they told a fucking story in that ring. And it was more so than I was expecting. I mean... This was a story, I think, to top so many of the stories that were told at even the Rumble, at some of the other NXTs. I think just in the last 12 months, I think that this is going to be remembered as a moment where the last 10 minutes of this match, there wasn't a damn person in their seats. Everyone was standing. And I do mean everyone was standing and shouting, "Fight forever." Which, I'm going to tell you, when you hear the words "Fight forever" from an NXT crowd, you are doing something right. So, anyway, Andrade Cien Almas and Johnny Gargano. Okay, this was a hugely long match. So, I'm going to start. I'm just going to go through the end highlights, because it would take me forever to read everything on this match, because it was an extremely long match. I mean, I think this definitely took up what was probably a good 45 minutes to an hour, because there were so many times where I thought, it's over, it's over, it's over, it has to be over. And yet, these guys kicked out every time I thought it was going to be over. And, excitement, drama, ambiance. Just, that is what makes wrestling. That is why so many people love NXT over everything. New Japan, freaking Raw, SmackDown, ROH. That is why NXT is fucking NXT. These guys are fighting to get in to that door. And without that, and without that kind of push to try, there is nothing. Anyway, this is towards the middle of the match, so forgive me. Almas hit a double knee strike in the corner for a near fall. Almas slapped him several times, Then Gargano hit a series of strikes. Gargano hit him with a super kick, then a reverse hurricanrana. Gargano locked in the Gargano escape, but Zelina interfered by trying to help Almas, who later racked the eyes of Gargano. Gargano sent Almas to the floor and hit an outside dive. Zelina Vega hit a hurricanrana to Gargano into the steel steps. Almas hit him then, after getting him back into the ring, with a hammerlock DDT for a near fall. Zelina Vega went after Gargano, but Candice LeRae, who is Gargano's girlfriend in real life, she was also, I believe, the champion of American Ninja Warrior, I think either this past year or the previous year, and she attacked Zelina Vega. Back in the ring, Gargano hit with a head kick and a slingshot DDT for yet again another near fall. You're seeing what I'm trying to say here. Gargano locked in his submission finisher, but Almas got into the ropes. Almas sent Gargano back first into the ring post, then hit knee strikes. Almas hit a hammerlock DDT once more for the win. Honestly, I have way more respect for Almas after this. I felt that he was going to be a transitional champion. I truly did. I thought that because he was a fluke to begin with, because the only reason he's a champ is because of the fact that, Drew McIntyre got hurt after that hammerlock DDT back in November. So I honestly felt that this was going to be the story going into, WrestleMania, going into that night before WrestleMania in New Orleans for whatever they're going to call that takeover. But instead, Gargano lost. We know how WWE does have that tendency to not like smaller guys that can perform. Daniel Bryan. But I want to see him win the NXT title, especially after what happened after the match when Tommaso Ciampa just clubbed him with yet again his crutch. With Tommaso Ciampa constantly beating the crap out of him, are we trying to build up to Ciampa versus Gargano again? Because that was such a thing in the Cruiserweight Classic? Or are we trying to insinuate Gargano's never going to win the title? Because we don't know how long McIntyre is going to be out. We don't know. I would like to see him climb to the epitome of greatness in NXT. But unfortunately, I'm not seeing him climbing that ladder to the NXT title. The top just got really crowded in NXT. Between McIntyre, who's injured but swore he'd come back and win the NXT title, Almas, who is the champion, Ricochet, who's showing up, and he ain't starting at no bottom, I guarantee that. You've got other people like, I don't know. Let me sit here and think for a moment. There are many, many other people also in NXT. Right now a lot of tag teams are hitting my mind for some odd reason. But, you know, you have Adam Cole, who's another guy. You have Alister Black, who's another guy that deserves that title. You have, you know, you have Eric Young, who I don't think will ever reach that epitome. But still, another guy whom, if they do decide to keep him there and not move him up, he could be an NXT champion. I mean, there are a lot. There's the thirst is real right now for that title, and I think that what you're going to see is a lot of competition for the NXT title in 2018. And it's not going to be so easy to win that title as it was in years past. And I like that, but the tag team division and the men's division is so jam-packed full of talent right now, whether it's brand new talent or whether it's up-and-coming talent. They're coming. And, you know, the only division I'm slightly worried about right now is the women's division. I don't know how long Ember Moon's going to be there. Shayna Baszler does have a long time to go, so you can kind of, you know, tug of war between those two. We know the iconic duo of, you know, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce are most likely going to get moved after, you know, WrestleMania, because I see no reason to keep them there. Zelina Vega could be a female contestant. I mean, we already know she's got moves. You know, Gargano's girlfriend, you know, what was her name? Candice LeRae. She could be another person that could be up and coming. I don't know what's going to happen either with Nikki Cross. She could be going up or she could be staying down. I don't know exactly what's going to happen with these women from the Mae Young Classic. I mean, obviously, they've picked and chose their favorites. Boo! No Toni Storm! But, you know, that's a woman you need to pick up. I am glad they picked up who they did pick up, but they need to grab Toni Storm. Personal opinion, but yeah. But that women's division is going to need some help in the next year and a half. They're going to need new people coming in as people circulate out. So I'm curious to see where they're headed with that division in NXT. So that was NXT Philadelphia. If I was to give this a rating, and everyone who's watched me knows how stingy I am on ratings. But if I was to give this pay-per-view a rating, that's easily an 8 or 9 out of 10. It probably an 8 for me, just because the people I wanted to win did not win. And as much as I think, as good as Almas did in the ring, which I don't want to take anything away from Almas, because Andrade Cien Almas did do great. He had a great match. He got everybody's blood pumping. I mean, people, when you get people, like I said, saying fight forever, you know you're doing something right. So, Almas had a great night that night. He had another great night in the Royal Rumble, which I'll get to in a sec. But I think that, you know, this was a wonderful night for a takeover. It was a wonderful night for everyone that worked for NXT that got to the epitomes, the apexes of where they were at. I feel very interested as to why they chose to not move any titles. And by the way, Samoa Joe, don't be a commentator anymore. You're not a commentator, you're an ass whooper. Anyway, on to the Royal Rumble. Now, the Royal Rumble, I'm going to say, this was, of anything, I really, really, really feel like the Rumble, it was, to be fair, the Royal Rumble, it was not a horrible pay-per-view by any means. Some of the things that they did, though, upset me. And I want to just express this before I go over any matches, before I really do anything. Putting WWE, the WWE Championship, as the first on the card. Fine. It's the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble should be the main event, because it's the Royal fucking Rumble. However, they chose this year to put the actual Royal Rumble third down, have the Universal title match, and then have the Women's Rumble. Look, I'm as big a fan as anyone of of the Universal title. I'm as big a fan as anyone of female wrestling. But as far as I am concerned, a first-time event, which we don't even know how people feel about it entirely yet, but a first-time event should never, ever supersede what brought it to the dance, which was the Royal Rumble. Excuse me, I need to turn off my phone, because apparently people don't know how to take no for an answer. So, but the bottom line here is that the Royal Rumble, should have been the main event that night. It should have. And I feel like the Royal Rumble, it's something special. We get it once a year. Once a year. And it is only once a year. And it's something that, if we were to get it more than once a year, then fine. Do what you want to do with it. It's yours to do with what you want. But this is something special. And to say that it is not anything that's special is blasphemy. And that's exactly what it is. It's blasphemy. And I don't know exactly what the issue is with the Rumble. I don't know what the problem is, in my opinion, with this idea that women have to be bigger than the men because we're making a revolution. Look, I love women's wrestling. I love how it's progressed in the last 4 or 5 years, but I'm sorry how people feel, but who's putting the asses in the seats? End of discussion on that one. I guarantee nobody went to the Royal Rumble on the specific reason of seeing the Women's Rumble, especially last. That is outright disrespectful to all the men. It's outright disrespectful to the event that brought that event to the dance, and it's disrespectful, in my opinion, overall, to just to what wrestling has been. I get women want to be treated equally. But if you want an equal opportunity job, go to 7-Eleven. Go to Burger King. Go to McDonald's. Go sit behind a desk. Whatever. WWE is entertainment. And entertainment is never and has never been an equal opportunity job. It is to the people who are the entertainment. So why? I don't get that. Now, the intro for the Royal Rumble was boss. I liked it, and I felt it was very becoming of what the Royal Rumble is supposed to be. I don't think the Royal Rumble would be anything without a great intro. And I think that God and I think that this is, a great thing for a lot of people. But I just feel that the Royal Rumble is something that, I'm not saying it should be always the men, because that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that the problem herein lies with the booking. I said before, I have no problem with the Women's Royal Rumble. I think that's a great idea. My problem is that they put that match on last. Which, that is disrespectful. Because it's disrespecting the event that brought you to the dance. You should never disrespect history. Because people are going to look at history and realize, oh, the men did that first? Well, why are the women being disrespected? Why do the women get to disrespect the men? I realize that the women in this business feel like they've been disrespected for one reason or another, and that's fine. I understand the women's need to want to branch out and do new things. Like, I was totally cool with the Money in the Bank. I thought that was a wonderful idea. I think that was a big way for women to not only do something hardcore, but to do something, different. But unfortunately, this turned into a lot of things that it shouldn't have. And the Royal Rumble, and I'm going to have to go back from memory because my internet is wanting to be all shit-faced on me. So, but the Royal Rumble was pretty easy to remember, so I'll just go from memory. Number 1, your first match was the WWE title match. It was Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus AJ Styles for the WWE title. I called this one before it even happened, because you're not going to have co-champions. It's really to me, anyone that was thinking Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens were going to win this match were out of their damn minds, especially right before WrestleMania. I think, though, that it was kind of sloppy the way they ended it, because there at the end when AJ Styles was grabbing, I think it was Sami Zayn, and he was looking for a pinfall, or he was looking for a tag, so not a pinfall, he was looking for a tag to Kevin Owens, and I think the referee, didn't see the fact that he never tagged in, just the fact that he was in the ring. And, so Sami Zayn, or excuse me, Kevin Owens, was not the legal man. And Kevin Owens was looking to tag in Sami Zayn, but it was just weird. And it ended weird. And, he attacked a guy, brought him back in the ring, and, pinned him. I mean, he didn't even get a Styles Clash in that match. That never happened. It was all about the calf crusher. And he calf crushed AJ, or AJ calf crushed, Kevin Owens, which essentially took him out of the equation for most of the match, and then just went on the attack on Sami Zayn, and then Sami Zayn essentially was beaten down to the point where AJ was able to beat them. Now, like I said, it was a weird tag situation, and the referee thought said person had tagged in, and I guess they didn't tag in, and AJ Styles pinned the wrong person, and I've seen some people on Twitter and Facebook get all triggered about it, and, well, first of all, this may have been planned, and it may have been a Montreal screw job kind of thing, second generation for, Shane McMahon, which I'm sure we'll see more of. And there was a segment with them in the back, yelling at Shane, and, Kevin Owens was like, well, AJ Styles is your championship. And won the championship. And he's like, I only have one thing to say to that. Yep. And then just walks away. And even, I'm glad AJ won, especially considering who won the Rumble. But, yeah, it was definitely, weird. Pre-show, I honestly didn't think this was going to happen, but because there was no cruiserweight match, or cruiserweight title to be contested, I think that's why they decided to do this. They had, an open challenge for the U.S. title with Bobby Roode. I felt like this is when Ziggler should have come out, but instead it was Mojo. Why the fuck are you giving us Mojo? I mean, I'm glad this was pre-show, because it was not worth wasting any time on the main roster for. So, Mojo gets buried in 5 minutes by Bobby Roode, and that's the end of it. So, everything else on the pre-show was garbage, and unimportant. Anyway, getting back to the point of the show. After the WWE title match, we didn't have any women's title at all. We had the match with Gable and Benjamin against the Usos. This one got me a little triggered, and I'm going to tell you why. Number one, why the fuck do the Usos even deserve the titles anymore? These are guys that were, pushed because they made an incredible fucking heel turn. Now they're starting to look like baby faces because the crowd loves them, the crowd's into them, and that really wasn't the design of this turn. So, and you're turning Gable and Benjamin into heels. Here's the thing. A good design for this match would have been keeping Gable and Benjamin faces and having the Usos do dirty shit to them for like 5 weeks. Instead, we got a match where Usos got both falls in a row, and Gable and Benjamin got no falls. I'm going to tell you, after what we saw on SmackDown 2 weeks ago, and them getting a fall on the Usos, and then having it reversed, having it end in 2 straight falls for the Usos was stupid. And you're just burying Gable and Benjamin at that point. So, what was your point in burying Gable and Benjamin? You've buried your whole fucking tag team division on SmackDown at this point. I mean, are you thinking Bludgeon Brothers versus Usos? I mean, or is this a chance for someone else to move up for the tag team titles on SmackDown? Because I don't know where your tag team division is going after this match. It's done. I mean, it's stupid. It feels like you're just throwing people out there just to do so. Anyway, after that, we got the Royal Rumble match. I felt this was odd. Mainly because, number one, they hadn't even done the Raw Tag Team title match yet, which I think that is somewhat disrespectful to the Rumble. Again, being disrespected. And I feel like for the sake of Seth Rollins and his health, and the fact that we've seen Seth Rollins just in the past be, somewhat injury prone, especially with his knee. If he was going to be in the Rumble and not win it, you might want to get the most out of him having that tag title match be first or before the Rumble instead of after the Rumble. I don't. Part of me does not get why. But anyway, the Rumble. Obviously it's going to be hard to do the Rumble, especially with my internet acting up right now and trying to, make my computer symbol bumblefuck itself and freeze up. I apologize for anyone that saw it freeze up, but it is what it is. I mean, I need a new computer very badly. This thing is old. So I'm going to do the best I can to try to make that happen. Anyway, bigger points here for the Royal Rumble. Your first 2 entrants for the Rumble this year were Finn Balor, who was number 2, and I don't even remember who was number 1. Let's see if we can get the internet going just to see if I can remember who the number 1 entrant was. Because Balor did a damn good job, and I'm not gonna disrespect the job that Balor did. And what he did for the Royal Rumble. I think that Balor did an incredible job for the Royal Rumble, and I think that Balor's job most definitely was obviously, a great thing. So, okay, so let's get to the Royal Rumble match. Okay, so the first competitor was was Rusev. And they had Aiden English come out to announce Rusev. And, that was pretty big. So, I've got this now, because my internet is not being a bumblefuck. So, okay. Number 1 and 2 were Finn Balor. They fought it out for 90 seconds. Rhino came out at number 3, which I found interesting. I mean, he... and this was interesting. Rhino was eliminated by Balor. Then at number 4 was Baron Corbin. So Baron Corbin quickly got tossed out of the ring by Rhino. And Corbin went for a big clothesline to Rusev, and then Rhino just flipped him over the ring. Corbin threw a hissy on that one. And, oh boy, I do not think this company is done rubbing Baron Corbin's nose in the ground. So, number 5 was Heath Slater, which, my God, did Heath Slater get humiliated in this match. I mean, from being beaten up by the next 3 or 4 entries, and then the 5th one he was humiliated by was a member of the New Day sticking pancakes in his face. Humiliation factor was there for Heath Slater. My goodness. So, Corbin took Slater out with a clothesline. And then when Slater made his entrance, is like everybody's going to catch these hands. Then number 7 was Elias. Elias kicked him and hit him with an elbow when he got in. What was number 7 was Andrade Cien Almas. Big pop for him. Nobody thought he was going to be in the Rumble. So that was pretty cool. And he lasted quite a while. He was eventually eliminated, but this was a guy that lasted quite a while. Number 9 was Big E, and Big E gave him some pancakes, as I stated. Number 10 was supposed to be Ty Dillinger. However, it went to the back, and Ty Dillinger was getting the shit beat out of him by, of course, the one little babies that didn't win the WWE Championship. Kevin and Sami, and then Sami Zayn went out and took his spot. I don't even know if that's legal, but we will find out the repercussions on SmackDown. Personally, I'd love a feud between Sami and Ty. I think that would be a nice, tip of the cap to Ty, and a wonderful thing for Sami Zayn. Number 11 was Sheamus, and Sheamus got tossed out by Slater in what could be the fastest time I've ever seen. I mean, this is up there with freaking, oh gosh, Mr. Cobra Boy. I can't even remember his name because he sucks so bad. But, yeah. Still, it's one of the fastest eliminations I've ever seen. Oh, geez, I can't even remember his name, but it's not important. The fact is, though, is that it was very quick, and Sheamus was shocked that he got eliminated by Heath Slater, because he got kids, Number 12 was Xavier Woods, and they, wait a minute, I missed someone. Yeah, because Bray Wyatt, what did Bray Wyatt come in at? Wyatt must have come in at number 8 because he was already in the ring. Came in at number 7. Yeah, Bray Wyatt was number 8, and he was in the ring. Sheamus was number 11. Xavier Woods was number 12. Apollo Crews was number 13. He didn't last very long in the Rumble before getting tossed out. Number 14 was Shinsuke Nakamura. And I'll get to him in a bit. So, number 15 was Cesaro. And Cesaro did some decent damage there in the Rumble. Who was at at 16 was Kofi Kingston. 17 was Jinder Mahal. And then and Mahal would eliminate Woods and Big E with a big boot. And then Seth Rollins came out at 18, and he had a very impressive showing. So, and he did, and him and Balor were going at it for quite a while. So, and they sling-bladed each other, which was funny. Let's see. 19 was Matt Hardy. And Matt Hardy would get into it with Bray Wyatt, which tells me the shit between him and, Wyatt is not over. Though they did have a very, very temporary alliance there. But they could... Hardy hit the side of Almas and started brawling with Wyatt, and then they were both eliminated by each other. John Cena came out at number 20. And then Cena would attack, and he tossed Elias to the floor and eliminated Elias. The Hurricane! And no, you are not mishearing me. Shane Helms, the Hurricane. Literally, when I heard stand back, there's a hurricane coming through, I kind of marked out. But he was kind of jobbed out as he was doing this shit, Fucking, you might as well be doing the dab with TJ Perkins at that point. But he came out, and then he went right to Cena, who then tossed him the fuck out. Aiden English was came out and was number 22. And then Adam Cole Bebe was number 23. Cole had his ribs taped up, by the way, after what had happened to him the night before. And, he was kicking... He was kicking apart Balor and Aiden English, which shows if he can handle Balor and English. I mean, Aiden English is no slouch, and Balor, fuck. There's your first feud for him on the main card, him versus Balor. I'd pay to see that. That's like WWE. Take my money, okay? Then, the next one was Randy Orton at 24. And he had a series of suplexes to Cole, went for an RKO to Cena, but it was blocked. Almas went for a springboard dive, but Orton caught him with an RKO out of nowhere, and then tossed Almas out of the ring. So, Almas was eliminated by Randy Orton. Then Titus O'Neil came out at 25. Yeah. And people care about that because there was like zero fucking reaction to that. Like none. Then The Miz came out at 26 and hit Rollins with a neck breaker. And and then he got an AA and a DDT to Cena. The Miz hit a skull-crushing finale to Cena, and then Rollins hit him with the super kick right to Miz. 27 is quite possibly the biggest entry into this Rumble. Now, Rey Mysterio has talked to various sites and things that this was only a one-time thing. It was a one-time pop. There wasn't, he's not going to be a regular part of the roster or anything like that. But to see Rey Mysterio in the Rumble, that's huge. And Rey Mysterio proved he could still kick ass. He hit a 619 on Cena and Roman at the same time. Why can't you be Rey Mysterio? Rey Mysterio hit a 619 to The Miz as well. So, it was just poetry in motion, pardon the phrase. Number 28. Well, who is number 28? Shit. Roman Reigns was 28. This is when I kind of got scared about who was going to win the Royal Rumble. Because if Roman Reigns is 28, that's a bad sign for all those people that were in the ring. Reigns eliminated Titus. Yay. Of all the things he did last night, that was probably the only thing good that he did. And then, he did a few things. Number 29 was Goldust, I guess, but I'd have rather have seen someone else get that spot. Goldust does not excite anyone, so bad timing? Anyway, Goldust hit a series of kicks to Orton, and then number 30 was Dolph Ziggler. Now, for that one, I get it. You're making people think that he quit the company and then he comes out at number 30. He did have a mild pop, but not a huge one like Rey Mysterio did. Obviously, Rey Mysterio maybe should have been saved for number 30. But, whatever. In the end, there was a lot of shit going on. The final 4 people were Cena, Roman, Balor, which makes Balor the Iron Man of this Rumble, because he was in there for the longest amount of time. I would have to go back and watch it again and time it, but when you're number 2, or number 1, yeah, you've been in there for the longest amount of time. Anyway, Cena, Roman, Balor, and Nakamura. So, the way this ended, and I'm going to read it off. Let's see. Reigns hit Cena with a Superman punch, and then went for a spear, but Cena blocked it with an AA. Cena attempted to eliminate Nakamura, but Nakamura blocked it and hit a knee strike, sending Cena to the floor. Nakamura and Reigns are the final 2. Let me see if they say how Balor... Oh yeah, Balor... How did he get eliminated? Damn. Oh yeah, Reigns hit Balor with a clothesline. Cena then hit some right hands, but Reigns hit a Samoan drop. Cena hit a side slam to Reigns, but Balor caught him with a sling blade, then a drop kick. Same goes for Reigns and Nakamura. Nakamura managed for his finisher, but Balor blocked, and Cena tossed Balor to the floor. So he tried to duck the running knee strike from Nakamura and then got tossed to the floor for all his troubles. But Iron Man of this year's Royal Rumble was Balor. And my God, for all you people calling Balor a white vanilla midget, this white vanilla midget went through Rey Mysterio. He made sure everyone catches these hands. So, yeah, I am absolutely happy about that. Anyway, Cena attempted to eliminate Nakamura, but Nakamura blocked and hit a knee strike, sending Cena to the floor. Your final two are Roman Reigns and Nakamura. I was literally having a panic attack at this point. I'm like, oh my God, Roman's gonna win. They would never in a million years let Nakamura win, because we all know how Vince feels about Asian talent. Well, I'm glad to say I was proven wrong. And this is one of those times I'm glad to say I was proven wrong. Very, very much so. At the end, Nakamura, Reigns powered out of a head kick and powerbomb Nakamura. I honestly thought when he picked him up for the powerbomb, he was just going to pick him up and powerbomb him. The first time he tried to pick him up for a powerbomb, he locked in an arm submission, which would mean if he tried to powerbomb him, they both hit the floor. Then Nakamura blocked the spear with a running knee strike. It looked like he fucking kicked his head off. I was like, after looking at that, I was like, oh my God. You better get some medical staff out there, because he may have broken his fucking neck. Nakamura hit him with yet another running knee strike and eliminated him. And I literally ripped my shirt off and started swinging it around, because I was that happy. Finally, talk about Gable and Benjamin want justice. Looks like Nakamura finally got some justice. Especially for that shitty position he was in against Mahal earlier this year. Fuck Mahal. Glad he didn't win the Royal Rumble. I am so glad that all those don't hinder the gender people finally got to eat it after Nakamura won the Rumble. Because Nakamura was asked, who do you want to face? Brock Lesnar or AJ Styles? Which that's something I brought back this year, which I'm happy. If you win the Rumble, you got to choose the champion you were going to face. So, and Nakamura said, I want to face, and then, hold it, wait for it, AJ Styles. And the whole fucking place started just, I don't think I've heard a pop that big in quite some time. The whole fucking place was like, whoa. I mean, that whole arena had to be singing Nakamura's theme song for at least 5 minutes. I mean, I don't think there was a single person in Philadelphia that was not happy with that result. So, we go on to what came next in the Royal Rumble, which was the tag team match between Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan versus Sheamus and Cesaro. I'm going to tell you right now, this was nothing to write home about. I think that this match was probably the worst match of the night, just because the way it made both tag teams look stupid. I have a beef with this match because it made Jason Jordan look stupid. It made Seth Rollins look weak. And after Sheamus had already was made to look weak in the Rumble, why the fuck should I care? I mean, that's why I think this match should have been before the Rumble and not after it. I mean, if you were worried about Sheamus, having this and the Rumble, I think eliminating him in the manner you did wouldn't have changed anything here. I think that Jason Jordan was made to look stupid. I'm glad that FYI Booker T ain't gonna be on the commentary team anymore, so he won't be heckling Jason Jordan. It's official from WWE.com that it will be Jonathan Coachman doing the commentary on Raw and not Booker T. I mean, Booker T is, good at most of what he does, except I really, why are you heckling Jason Jordan? Like, what the fuck did he ever do to you? So, I don't know. I mean, I have beef with it. And as soon as he started doing that, it was just weird because Booker T's not normally the kind of guy to do that. Getting to the end of this match, it was what everyone thought it was going to be, a build up for WrestleMania, but it's going to be hard for Seth Rollins to lay blame on Jason Jordan when he got smashed into a post and he was I think he was trying to sell a concussion, which that's not very respectful to the guys that actually do get concussions. And then he tags in and then tags Rollins back in like a span of about 5 seconds. No. I mean, basically, this was a Seth Rollins exhibition after he had already given an exhibition in the Royal Rumble. I mean, if you want a guy after WrestleMania to give that fucking Universal title to, it's Rollins. It is Rollins. Because he earned it here. He deserves it now. And I think Rollins versus Balor, after the exhibition he gave in the Royal Rumble, it's time. It's time to revisit that feud, regardless of what side of heel and face these guys are on, because I could see Rollins going in there as a face and Balor going in there as the heel. Yes, Gallows and Anderson had a match. It was on the pre-show. It was them versus the Revival. Revival got their win back from the Balor Club. So it appears that Gallows and Anderson and the Revival are going to have something going up to WrestleMania. I wouldn't be surprised if they fought each other again on Raw tonight. So, but Sheamus and Cesaro won, which, makes them your new Raw Tag Team Champions. So, Universal title match is triple threat between Brock versus Kane versus Braun. Admittedly, this was a better match than I was assuming it was going to be, and it was a longer match than I was assuming it was going to be. However, the results was exactly what I was thinking it was going to be. There was a lot of, I'm going to hit this guy through a table. There was a great spot where Lesnar picked up a table and threw it back on Braun, much in the way Braun did it to Lesnar at SummerSlam. No, Braun was not taken out on a stretcher, but I'll pick up from there. Lesnar picked up the announce table and dropped it on Strowman. Lesnar reversed the choke slam and hit an F5 to Kane through the third announce table. Strowman tossed the table off of him and got up with Lesnar in shock, because Lesnar just thought, that's the end. They start brawling back into the ring. Strowman hits a power slam finisher on Brock twice in a row, and Kane hits Strowman with a chair a few times. Lesnar sent Kane into Strowman, hit an F5 to Kane onto a chair and pinned for the win. So that's how that came about. And I figured, it was going to be a shorter match. And, it was what it was. I mean, obviously, with 2 Rumbles, you're going to have a shorter match. Winner and still champion, Brock Lesnar. Post-match, Strowman stood up and yelled at Lesnar that he couldn't beat him and that he couldn't pin him, and then Lesnar laughs and walks to the back. Then we have the women's match. Your first 2 people were Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. They were the ones that started out 1 and 2. There were a few things that happened in this match that I think could roll into other storylines. We finally got that Sasha Banks heel turn that we were looking for. Sasha Banks did go on to eliminate Bayley. If Sasha Banks isn't going to have a point in any major storyline, I think Banks versus Bayley, that's money. Okay. So that happened. KFC Logan was number 3. Stomped, number 4. Who was number 4? Mandy Rose was number 4 from Team Absolution. Which, by the way, if you take the first letters of the first names from Absolution, Paige, Mandy Rose, and of course, Sarah Logan, that spells PMS. Just saying, Well, you wonder why Vince put these 3 together. But anyway, getting to the point. Getting to the point, you had that happen. Number 4 was Mandy Rose. Number 5 was Lita. She came out to a huge pop because everybody freaked out. Oh my God, it's Lita! Like, she's not going to be in something like this. But nonetheless, Philadelphia. So, and it is Lita, the Queen of Extreme. So, then number 6 was Kairi Sane. I'm going to tell you something. Kairi Sane don't look so green no more. I love the way she was going underneath the rope to get to the top rope, which would mean she would not have been eliminated should anyone knock her off the top. She is so fast and so quick now. I want more Kairi Sane in my NXT. And that's another thing, another woman that I think could challenge for the NXT title. I know I was talking about TakeOver earlier, but that's another woman that is going to rise up. Because Kairi Sane was amazing in that match. Number 7 was Tamina. And she had a super kick to Kairi Sane, to Banks, and to Lynch. Lita hit her with a DDT, and then hit her with a Twisted Fate. Awesome. Crowd had a huge pop for that, too. And then Lita sent Tamina over the top rope, which I believe was the first elimination of the match. And then Becky eliminated Lita right after that. Boo! Anyway, Dana Brooke was at number 8. Who fucking cares? Number 9 was Tori Wilson. Again, she hit a face buster to Dana Brooke and then hit a clothesline to Banks and drop kicked Becky Lynch. So she came out with some intentions. But unfortunately, Logan took her out with a drop kick, and then And then Tori Wilson eliminated Dana Brooke with a drop kick. Sonya Deville came out at number 10. That's the other woman from PMS. I mean Absolution. Excuse me. And went right after Banks. Sonya Deville tried to get rid of Becky Lynch, but Lynch held on. Number 12, Molly Holly. That kind of shocked me a little bit. But, she came out and hit a series of kicks to Banks. And then slash at Banks. A lot of these women were rolling to the floor underneath the bottom rope to, keep themselves, in play. And keep enough women in play. And I get that, but that's another problem I have with this being the main match versus the men's Royal Rumble, or the Royal Rumble being the bottom. You didn't see a lot of that shit in the men's Royal Rumble. You saw a lot of women who were kind of green to this situation and newbies to this kind of situation. Just roll out to the bottom. That's your answer. Roll out to the bottom if you're too tired. Well, I get it, and I understand, because, again, this isn't a sexist thing. It's a personal thing. It's also not an agenda. It's about physique. The physique of women and their endurance cannot match up with the men. You can't. I mean, men and women just weren't built that way in the same way. Now, are there women who I think could kick men's ass on the roster? Yeah, definitely. But are there women who could kick a man's ass on the roster? Yeah, absolutely. I think that it applies for both. But I truly feel that they should not have been main eventing. And the only reason they did it is because of what happened at the end. So, let me finish. Sonya Deville was number 10. Liv Morgan was number 11. Molly Holly was number 12. Lana came out at number 13 to a big pop because everyone was saying, Rusev Day. Rusev Day. Like she's going to win, folks. Give me a break. They let Lana win the Women's Royal Rumble. That would have killed my entire emotional high from what had happened with Nakamura. Because I think every woman that was in this Rumble has more talent than her. So, anyway, Alana came out at number 13. Number 14 was Michelle McCool, which McCool definitely cleaned house with a series of kicks to various women. Number 15 was Ruby Riott. Who cares? Number 16. Wow. Number 16 was awesome. Because the only thing you heard, there was no music. It was just, excuse me! I said excuse me! The whole crowd went ape shit when that happened. And when Vicky came in, she made her way to the ring, and all the girls just ganged up on her and tossed her the fuck out. And, it was funny. It was a cheap pop for Vicky Guerrero, but, it was something that it was kind of fun to see. But, again, I don't see why this had to be the main event of the Rumble. It just, no. 17 was Carmella, and she talked some trash to Vicky, And then Vicky grabbed the Money in the Bank briefcase and clocked her over the head with it. Go Vicky. Anyway, let's see. And then she hit her into the ring apron too. Then Carmella. Kelly was number 19. That was a nice, cool thing. And was almost eliminated by Natalya, but Kelly held on. Natalya eliminated Michelle McCool. So that was kind of a bummer. Anyway, number 20 was Naomi. 21 was Jacqueline, which, it was nice. Nia Jax was 22, and then as soon as Nia Jax came into the ring, she eliminated Jacqueline and Kelly, but as soon as she got into the ring, she got ganged on by everybody, and then she just, powered everyone off of her. Ember Moon entered at 23. So, and she had tape on her arms and everything, kind of selling the arm injury. But, she was able to shine, and she did a springboard kick to Jax, and, her and Jax started fighting. Beth Phoenix entered at 24, and her and Jax had a stare down, and then they started brawling. Beth Phoenix lifted Jax up, but couldn't eliminate her. Natalya and Beth Phoenix teamed up on Jax, who went flying through the middle rope, so that doesn't qualify an elimination. Natalya slapped Beth and tossed her to the floor, but Beth Phoenix and, let's see, it was... Yeah, Natalya and Beth Phoenix, they fought each other. I know Beth Phoenix had a stare down, I believe, with Kelly. So that was interesting. Anyway, number 25 was Asuka. So, and nobody was ready for Asuka. But Ember Moon did, except for Ember Moon. Ember Moon hit a fucking eclipse on Asuka. But Asuka kind of no-sold it and tossed her to the floor by using the top rope to her advantage. Coming in at number 26 was Mickie James, who tried to beat up Asuka and hit a neck breaker on Banks. Nikki Bella was number 27. Brie Bella was 28. Boo and Boo, Although everybody was screaming, John Cena sucks. John Cena sucks when Brie came out. Then the Bella twins took care of... Then Brie did knee strikes to everyone, and Jax got on the apron, and the Bella twins drop-kicked her out of the ring. So, 29 was Bayley, and this is kind of what disappointed me. Trish hit a double bulldog to the Bellas, and Bayley caught Trish with a kick. Trish knocked her off the top rope. Trish and Mickie faced off so Trish eliminated freaking a regular superstar. I love Trish. Trish Stratus is one of the greatest, but for Trish to eliminate, Bayley that quickly, bullshit. Anyway, your number 30. Who is number 30? Number 30. Oh, number 30 was Trish Stratus. And that had a big pop. So your final four, though, in the end, because Trish and Mickie James faced off and exchanged right hands. I mean, that was the one that really got the crowd's blood pumping for this match. Mickie went to the top rope, but Trish kicked her in the head and eliminated her. Everyone jumped on Jax, but Jax fought everyone off of her. Everyone eliminated Nia Jax by picking her up and throwing her over the top rope. So your final four were Asuka, the Bellas, and Sasha Banks. Hats off to Sasha Banks for being the Iron Woman of this match. I think there's my stock for Sasha Banks after this match, admittedly, even though I feel that it was in the wrong spot on the card, and I will not stop saying that because it needs to be said. You know, the stock for Sasha Banks is very high right now. I think after this kind of performance, I think you need to push her. But that more than likely will have to wait until after WrestleMania. She will most likely be in the Women's Elimination Chamber match that I'm sure they're planning. But in and of itself, I think her stock went up for me that night. At that point, the Bellas tried to, let's see, Banks knocked down Asuka, and they all kicked Asuka while she was down. The Bellas eliminated Sasha Banks when she was going for her double knee strike, and in the corner to Asuka. The Bellas tried to eliminate Asuka, but couldn't. Asuka with a series of kicks to the Bellas. Asuka sent Brie to the apron, and Nikki took down Asuka with a clothesline. Nikki hit her finisher to Asuka. Nikki hit a forearm to Brie, and then eliminated her. Asuka with a drop kick to Nikki Bella. Nikki Bella hit an elbow, then a springboard kick. Asuka caught her with one of her famous Hi-Ya kicks, and then tossed her out of the ring for the elimination. Now, Charlotte Flair and, of course, Alexa Bliss were in the ring, and they were asking her, who do you want to face? Now, the point into this, now Asuka celebrated in the ring to close the show. Post-match, Flair and Bliss got in the ring and had a stare down with Asuka. Then Ronda Rousey walked out to the ring and pointed at the WrestleMania sign. She tried to shake Asuka's hand, but Asuka shoved it away. Rousey pointed at the WrestleMania sign and shook Stephanie McMahon's hand, and this is how they closed the show. And you could see her lips saying, "See you there," but I'm not sure who she was talking to. So, they did this essentially to sell Ronda Rousey coming to the ring. I'm going to be honest with you again. How is this your main event? Nakamura winning the Royal Rumble outshines this by a mile, by miles, hundreds of miles. I love all the cheap pops and everything, but this, as far as I am concerned, this was good, and I'm more than impressed with some of the women from NXT, your Hall of Famers, the women from Raw and SmackDown. They did much better in this environment than I had assumed, but this is not main event level. I do not care what anyone else says. I do not care what they think. My opinion still stands. The Royal Rumble main event, you would have had the fucking roof burned down with the amount of pop you would have gotten if you'd have waited to have Shinsuke win this at the end. Instead, you decided to go out for a cheap pop for Ronda Rousey? Like, really? Really? I feel like Nakamura was disrespected here. And, I mean, hats off to Asuka, but we all knew that's how this was going to end. It was with Asuka and Ronda Rousey in some fashion. I just do not feel that is a personification of how this pay-per-view should have been. I think they got it backwards. I think you should have had the women's first, then the Universal, and then the men's. I'm okay with a women's Royal Rumble. If it's going to be this kind of quality, and you're going to bring back stars of the past, and this and that, fine. I'm okay with it. Get the fucking gargoyle off commentary, though. Because if I hear the word fucking history one more time from Stephanie McMahon, I'm gonna gag her and JBL, and just, put them on a boat to nowhere. Because quite frankly, the way Stephanie McMahon was throwing the apparently the safe word for tonight, which was history, around during the Women's Rumble was about as bad as the way JBL was saying the word structure during the Elimination Chamber Punjabi prison match. It was like, can I please just change the freaking language on this, because you sound stupid and you look stupid. I wanted Ronda Rousey to beat the shit out of Stephanie to shut her the fuck up. I mean, but for whatever reason they had for putting this on last, it's all agenda. We know that. We know who the real winners and losers were tonight. We know. And as I said before, I think this Rumble was a good women's Rumble. Do I think it should have been the main event? Fuck no. Do I think that it deserves a spot there next year? Yes. Because I think the women proved, undoubtedly, especially if you're going to have a brand split, that A, this is needed, B, this can get people excited. Did the women prove that this is main event deserving? No. Not at all. I think that this was a lot of cheap pops for older stars. And this was what everyone was assuming it was going to be. A fast track for Asuka to get to the title. Honestly, not a single surprise here except for Rousey. And if that was going to be your big payoff, you should have done it before Nakamura and not after. Because Nakamura is your real fucking payoff, not Rousey. So, be that as it may, I'm very curious to see how Raw and SmackDown are going to go. I'm curious because Ziggler, instead of coming out to music and screeching it went from the screech to his music. I don't know if this means another turn for him. I don't know what it means, and I am sorry for the incredibly, incessantly loud snoring, but I have people here that have to be here. They are, respite workers. They're tired. They get tired. I don't have any control over that. So for the that you hear in the background, I have no control over where or how or when I can do this. And without my other guy, Danny, being here to do it with, there's just no way I can change what can't be changed. I was absolutely going to put this up no matter what. So we are at about 2 hours. So I have been babbling enough. I have covered both shows. I think that everyone knows how I feel. I have buttons right here. My my Nakamura, my AJ Styles, and my Too Sweet right here. So I'm looking more forward to SmackDown, believe it or not, than Raw, because we all kind of know where the fuck Raw is headed. So it's SmackDown that's going to be more interesting this week. But regardless, this was my review for both NXT Philadelphia and the Royal Rumble. I am Gary Maloney here for Sacktown Slam, and I am signing off.